Thank you, Presiding Officer. I think tonight we've actually heard a lot of agreement. There is a lot of unity. There is a lot of resentment for this policy. So I think it's right that we've had an opportunity to debate it. And I know Claire Hockey was concerned about the lack of numbers in the chamber, but I think it's good that we've had an extended debate because people are so passionate, and the majority of us in this chamber believe that this policy is wrong. So I think we have to try and channel that anger. And also be careful that we don't get complacent, because there isn't a government or a political party that is doing enough. And the two-child benefit cap is far from the only injustice that we need to tackle. So hopefully debates like this will help us to think about other areas where we do need to go further and faster. I think Scottish Labour has been clear, not just tonight, but in recent times, that this two-child benefit cap and the rape clause, it needs to go. We've been opposed to it from the very beginning. But I think others have made, others have made the point very well that we do need extensive review and reform of not just universal credit, the whole social security system. And I think Angela Rayner, when she was campaigning in Glasgow and Rutherglen last summer, she was very clear that this is a burden and we do need, and the Labour Party is committed to an ambitious child poverty strategy. I'll take the intervention.
Briefly, Claire Hockey.
Thanks very much. And I very much appreciate Monica Lennon taking the intervention. And we've heard some clarity about what Scottish Labour's position is from its MSP point of view. Obviously, it's the Labour MPs who will make those choices in how they vote, should they become the government, the next government. So whose lead are Scottish Labour MPs going to take? The one that Anna Sarwar sets, or the one that Keir Starmer seems to be setting?
Monica Lennon, if I can give you the time back.
It's great to talk about what all these Labour MPs will do. So our Labour candidates, when we have a manifesto, and no party has put forward a manifesto yet, we will be campaigning to end child poverty. That is absolutely a given, and I hope we can all agree that we do need political change, a change in government in Westminster, and that change really is a choice between the Tories and Labour. So I don't expect Claire Hockey and her colleagues to be saying nice things about Labour in the chamber. But if we're so interested in what Labour saying, well, look, I've mentioned Angela Rayner. Gordon Brown recently, in his interview, talked about the fact that this is a terrible policy and that it really needs to be looked at as part of this reform. And just last week, Cherie Blair, the human rights lawyer, as part of a campaign and coalition, has also made some really good points. So if we really are wanting to quote the Blairs, maybe it's Cherie Blair we have to look at. I think that we also need to think about this in the wider system change that's required. And that means us in Scotland, in this chamber, what we need to do. So let's pay attention to the End Child Poverty Coalition. That's over 80 groups in Scotland. The most recent scorecard, I think, is a bit of a wake-up call. And that is very much about what more we can do on Scottish child payment. I think we also have to be very mindful that in this Parliament last week, we heard from the Scottish Government that the climate targets for 2030 are being scrapped. I hope we don't get to a situation where the child poverty targets for 2030 become unachievable, and they also have to be scrapped. So I hope when we hear from the Cabinet Secretary some reassurance, because I believe in this chamber the majority of people come here to try and tackle these issues and end child poverty, but we cannot be complacent. And these are the issues that MSPs, for the time that we have left in this chamber, we have to focus on, and let's try and work together on that.